Hi. We're at a really great time in history. We're at a time where more and more people are asking the question, why am I here? What is my purpose? What is the meaning to my life? What is it that I am to contribute? And is this all there is? As a result of this questioning and this asking and this contemplation, the veil between inner reality and external illusion is growing thinner and thinner. People searching and yearning to access their heart space, their higher self, their inner being, whatever it is you want to call it, is transforming the world. It's shifting the perspective of humanity. And even if only some are shifting, it's causing the aggregate, the collective, to raise up to a higher level. Let me explain. As each person accesses their inner wisdom and follows that and has the courage to follow that, they become more happy, joyous, and free, and therefore more acts of kindness. Let's face it. When we're happy, we're kinder. But it's not just that. Because when somebody lives from their authentic place and does not succumb to the societal pressures or conformities or conditioning, they're giving permission for other people to do the same thing. They're paving the way to allow people to be who they really are and to relax and just live a life that's based more on ease and flow. And it's not so hard. It's kind of like the 4-minute mile. Not that that's easy, but somebody didn't think it was going to be hard, because in the beginning, nobody believed that anybody could run a 4-minute mile, right? And then finally, one person had determination and fortitude and foresight, and they saw and they believed that they could run a 4-minute mile. And that's exactly what they did. They set out and they ran a 4-minute mile. Well, what happened was the believability factor went way up, and all of a sudden, the floodgates open and more people can run the 4-minute mile. So I'm dedicating this month's video to the illumination of our soul, or as I like to call it, the recognition of our special soulful signature. We all have a special soulful signature. It's unique unto ourselves. There are no two that are alike. It's kind of like our energetic makeup or our energetic complexion. It's the personality of our essence. It's spectacular. It's magnificent. It's gleaming. It's glorious. And I'm going to talk more about how we identify our own special signature and how we connect with it. And from that vantage point, start to recognize other people's. But I'm going to lay a foundation first. As we all know, we are 100% energy. We talked about that last month. And energy, in its densest form, is physical matter, what we can touch and feel and see. Matter is simply vibration perceived. Science has shown us that in the smallest of molecules, in the smallest atoms, cells, whatever you want to call it, is space and movement. That's analogous to emotions. Emotions is really energy moving. And that's the way we understand the smallest of ourselves. We can't really see an emotion, but we know it's there because we can feel it. Okay, so we're going to use the element of water, because water, it's actually a really good element to use because we're 90% water. So let's talk about the molecular structure of water and how that is analogous to vibration or frequency, and how that is akin to the human condition. Okay, so we have a zero. I'm going to try and make this really like linear so the left brain can really grasp its mind around it, but it's really not linear. So we start out with zero. Zero is akin to the slowest vibrational frequency and the densest mass, so we'll call that an ice cube. An ice cube would be analogous to the human condition of hatred, violence, intolerance, very low level of awareness. Then we go up the scale to a 4. A 4 would be like cold water, a little bit faster vibration, higher frequency, and that would be analogous to feeling self-doubt, insecure, judgment, critical. It's not like we're there all the time, but I'm just trying to give you an idea. And then as we go above that, past the 5 mark, we get to a 6. That would be sort of like warm water. That would be analogous to the human condition of feeling hopeful, optimistic, taking risks, following our inner guidance a little bit more, and less pulled towards societal norms. And then as we continue up the scale to a 10 is like steam. It's the highest frequency. It's pure positive energy. That would be analogous to love, freedom, abundance, prosperity, expansiveness, exuberance, passion. Whatever it is that you associate with pure positive energy would be a 10. And guess what, folks? That is our natural state. Isn't that good news? Pure positive energy is our natural state. So what happened? Well, I'm going to tell you. First of all, I just want to preface this next section that there are no such thing as bad people. There are only good people in this world. Now, there may be inappropriate behaviors, and when I say the word inappropriate, that can be a gross understatement in certain situations, but there is no such thing as a bad person. I just showed you that our natural state is the highest vibratory level, and that's pure positive energy. It's just something happens, and I'm going to get into that now with an example, but when we access our spiritual selves or our soulful signature and we operate on that level, we're neck and neck with pure positive energy and we're communicating on that level. So let's say a child is born and they're growing up and they get bullied and they get teased. There's an infinite number of ways to take that information in and integrate it into our being. And I'm just going to go through a few of them. But we can see what happens because when the baby is born, there's this luminous light. And as things occur, that light might start to dim a little bit because there's all kinds of debris that gets put on it through experiences. And all we need to do is clear that debris away and the soul and the light shines again. So the child gets teased, and one way of receiving that information is to withdraw, to get depressed and isolate oneself. Maybe that child becomes a substance abuser later in life to dull some of that pain because it's so painful, and they take it in as if they're not good enough. We do that a lot as humans. A second way to take that in is to utilize a very high-level, sophisticated defense system using self-deprecating humor. Now, somebody that is very smart intellectually, maybe they'll dive into schoolwork, but if they use self-deprecating humor, it's like they're protecting themselves, right? So they tease, they make fun of themselves, and they do it in a way that is the enjoyment of others through humor so that nobody can get to them before, nobody can sort of beat them to the punch, right? No pun intended. And so they grow up sort of putting themselves down in a humorous way. Another way would be to be a bully themselves. That's pretty straightforward and obvious. Another way would be to view tenderness and sensitivity as a weakness and stuff their feelings. Maybe they grow up and they have body disharmonies and health issues, or maybe they have relationship issues because they can't express themselves because they stuff their emotions. Yet another way would be, let's say the child stiffens and freezes and they feel kind of soldier-like when that happens. And so they develop an over-responsibility, a kind of protective mechanism, a guardianship to come to the defense of anybody else that experiences that. Now that's very adaptive, and maybe they become a policeman or a fireman or something like that. But it's coming from a place where they are fortifying against feeling vulnerable. So all of these people grow up, and the signature, the soulful signature, is knocking on the door. It wants to connect. It always, always wants to connect with us. So what happens? Well, maybe that body disharmony, there's a health issue that sort of knocks on the door, or the substance abuser needs to get into treatment, or the person that stuffs their feelings has relationship issues. Something happens to call the attention, because that soulful part of us wants us to feel the enlightenment. They want us to feel our natural state. So as this person uncovers that debris and starts to shine again, they realize, they'll see that their awareness starts to rise, and they feel like they kind of know now that nothing in this world is personal to any one of us, except for what we think, what we feel, what we do, and what we believe. So now they have a heightened awareness about that bully. And that bully has a backstory. That bully probably was not feeling loved, nor did it have self-love, nor did it have feelings of worthiness, and was probably quite insecure. So sending thoughts or feelings of goodness to that bully, I'm not saying you have to stay in that person's life, but sending those thoughts will start to transform and release any of those old perceptions and shift our attention in another direction. And as we shift our perceptions and think about things different and uplift one another, we help each other feel better. So what is a soulful signature? It's hard to explain. It's not linear. It's a feeling. It's an experience. It's a knowing. I'll give you an example. I have a very, very dear friend, somebody very close to me, and when she was pregnant with her daughter, she had a name picked out, and the name was a beautiful name. It was a little bit flowery, a little sing-songy, and when her daughter was born and put in her arms, she knew intuitively that the name she had selected did not, it didn't vibrate with the essence of this little girl. This little girl exuded strength and fortitude and inner wisdom and determination. The mother knew that. She could feel it. So she gave the little girl a completely different name that vibrated much more with her essence. And that little girl is about 7 years old now. And if I can tell you, anytime she has a situation that's difficult, she has the pure perseverance and the fortitude and the strength, and she's very smart. She has quite a bit of wisdom, and she forges through any difficult situation. So her mother knew that her soulful signature was not a lighter kind of feathery. Not that there's anything wrong with that. She just could feel it. So she named her along the lines of what her essence is. So I'm going to give you a visual now of how I experience soulful signatures, and hopefully it helps you in your vision quest. Picture a room, and the ceiling of the room is the sky, so it's infinite. And the walls of the room are air, so it's expansive. And you step into this room, and there's sparklers everywhere, like sparklers on a birthday cake, except these sparklers are infinite. They're all around you. You are it. They're all different colors. They're different densities. They're translucent, and they're transcendent, and they're different geometric shapes. They're different tones. They're different harmonics. There's music and texture and velocity and movement and feeling with all of this magnificence. And you stand there in the midst of all of this, and it's all surrounding you. And you focus on a quality or a color. Let's say you focus on the color blue, and all of a sudden a formation of blue appears, and then you relax and you come into the mindset of wanting to experience freshness or green, and then that comes together. That's kind of what our soulful, spiritual signature is like. It's luminous, it's harmonious, it's very, very esoteric, but it's quite magical. It's kind of like silvery white and liquid light. And what you know when you're in this is that you can feel how you're part of all there is. Yet at the same time, you can delineate yourself in the midst of all of it. So on a human level, the tools that we have are our emotions, energy moving. They are physical sensations in our body. They are our breath, very important, and our focused thoughts. On the cosmic level, they are the experience of transcendence. So our emotions are on the human level. That would be analogous to transcendence on a cosmic level. Our physical sensations would be analogous to the sparks of our life force, the electricity. And our focused thoughts would be understanding the broader perspective, the master plan. And the way we access the human, get from the human condition to the cosmic level is through our heart center and the breath. Those two mechanisms help us kind of leave our bodies a little bit, not literally, but energetically, and go above and start to look at situations. Start to see things from a different perspective. Start to look to see what somebody else's backstory is. Give people the benefit of the doubt that they are good through and through, that they're just exhibiting inappropriate behaviors. And you want to take this one step further, because if you're following your inner passion and you're doing something, saying like you're teaching, and you find the way you want to teach because you're following your inner voice and it's telling you that you want to teach through writing a book or something, and one day you get a headache or something and you feel like you can't write and you're getting frustrated, that's your physical sensations. So you want to pay attention to that, and you want to sit still and breathe into that and ask your head, what is it that you're trying to tell me? What is it that you want me to know? Is it that I am to look in a different direction? Is it that I am to have a different perspective? Because every single one of our body parts, when we experience a physical sensation, it's a knock on the door. It's our spiritual signature saying, hi, I'm here, pay attention. So hopefully this gave you a little bit. There is a lot more in the newsletter, and there are a couple of exercises in the newsletter, and they're really beautiful exercises on how to recognize somebody else's signature. But I think that's enough video time, and I'll see you next month. Thank you.